Arshada, if you don't mind, maybe. Okay, she's gone somewhere.
So, guys, we're starting the session.
Yes, Kalyan, we'll go live now. We have our 25 people who have joined us right now,
Okay.
and yeah, so we'll start now. So, a very good evening to everyone who has tuned into today's Burgeon. This is the seventh talk that we are having in this series, and the second last for the season. And today is kind of a very interesting and a highlighting talk for us, primarily because we are doing something really different from what we have done in the past six sessions. So today, departing from the usual routine, I will be moderating instead of Harshada because of some poor internet issues at her end. So yeah, I am a new face for the Burgeon crowd today, and today is going to be really interesting because of the people who are on our panel and the subject that we are going to speak about. So, without much delay, let me introduce to everyone who's listening to us the speakers of today. So we have Kalyan Varma, and I don't have to say much to people who know him and who even have an inkling about what wildlife is. And the photo on the right says everything about Kalyan and his work. But Kalyan has a very interesting start to his career. He was a techie in Yahoo who quit his job, went and started to became a naturalist with JLR, and then again moved from there into wildlife filmmaking, and the journey has continued from there. And Kalyan has worked on several landmark series with the BBC and National Geographic Channel, and here are some of his videos series that he has worked on: Secret Lives, A Secret of Wild India, Desert Lions, Million Snake Bites for BBC. And perhaps one the first time I kind of was introduced to Kalyan in Bangalore was this amazing video. I remember a lot of people who were sitting with me and watching this film actually sobbing besides me. An amazing movie about elephant capture, and this was something which struck a chord, and I realized how powerful wildlife filmmaking can be and can take pertinent issues to people. So this, and who does not know the Wild Karnataka movie? Something that struck like a lightning in the dark for everyone who is into wildlife, because we would always pin for Sir David Attenborough to speak about India, about the wildlife of India, about the natural heritage of India, and lo and behold, Kalyan Amok and his team had this amazing documentary called Wild Karnataka in collaboration with the Karnataka Forest Department. If you have not seen this, I urge you to see it. Obviously, a lot of you would have already seen, and we had circulated the links for this as well. And I was lucky to also be at the premiere of this movie at ISC. when it was released. So, this is something really great. And Kalyan, we are really happy to have you. And I am sure that the words that I've just spoken do not do justice to your career and the passion that you have for wildlife. So, Kalyan, welcome for joining us in this grassroots level program that we are doing.
Thank you, Pranay, and thank you for that overly generous introduction.
Right.
Like I think, like many of you, I mean, I just love wildlife, and for me, photography and filmmaking was the medium for me to kind of communicate what we have, both good things like Wild Karnataka positive film, but also serious conservation films.
Right. Thank you so much, Kalyan. So now I'll move to the next interesting person on our panel. Kalyan, you're going to be very interested in looking at this young guy. He's Amit Raj, and just like any other filmmaker and a videographer, he has always been at the background of several movies that we have all seen in a PVR and Inox, and we have no idea. So let me talk about Amit. Amit is also a great friend of mine. So it's a pleasure to introduce Amit to you. Amit has worked with several in several Bollywood movies. One of them was Jungli, though it was not a commercial success. I kind of liked this movie because it had a very nice, angle of poaching and wildlife conservation built into the action masala drama. And then, interestingly, I never knew that he also did a lot of work in the movie Ayushmann Khurrana's movie Dream Girl. And then, a lot of web series for Netflix, C, and Euros as well. And then the most amazing series, like I'm a big fan of Power Drift, and I watched this video so many times again and again with my brother. And then I never knew that Amit was the guy who shot all the drone footages in this video. He has done a lot of commercials for various automotive companies, which include the Tata Motors as well. He has done a lot of work with TVS Racing Academy as well. But then the most interesting and a mind blown thing that I knew was Amit also has done a lot of VFX work, and I am not kidding. He has done visual effects work for Captain America, the Winter Soldier, The Martian, and Chris Hemsworth's In the Heart of the Sea, which was again another fantastic, visual effects treat. And then, also like any good Desi boy, he has also done VFX for several Desi movies as well. And you can see Amit's name at the right hand corner for the VFX that he has done. But then off late, Amit has shifted his focus from Bollywood, Tollywood, and Hollywood to wildlife here, and I have been fortunate to go in the field with him. He's a keen learner and observer, and he has partnered with the Goa Forest Department over a series of three short documentaries that they're doing. The first one was Birds of Goa, which was released by the Goa Forest Department during the Bird Festival in Walpoi. And there are two other videos in line. The second one is to be screened in the assembly and will be released by the Honorable CM of Goa, Dr. Pramod Sawant. And once that happens, I think that also is going to come online. So with that, I guess I will, introduce to you uh, Shivcharan. Shivcharan is the star of today, and he'll tell us about how he has ended up amidst a panel of these two guys here. So, Shiv, it's up to you. I'll add you to the stream, and you can go live.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Am I audible, sir?
Shiv, yes, you're audible, and I
Yes.
would request you to go on slideshow mode so that
Yes, yes,
it's
yes.
visible for everyone. Yeah, great.
Yes, yes. All right. All right. Okay, a very good evening to everyone. My name is Shivcharan, and I am here to tell a story about my stumbling studio. So before I start, I would like to confess this. I have written everything in my little diary over here. This is my first public speaking, I believe, and it's something awkward that I can't see any one of you who is watching me, and all I can see is the screen of my laptop and the presentation itself. So here we start. A question from me to me, obviously, because nobody is there to ask me that question. How and when did I enter into filmmaking? All right. As you can see, it's an harmonium, and मेरा 15 साल वाला प्यार music. Class fourth, when I was actually introduced to classical music by my dad, and he has been supportive me with all these, all this art and culture related stuff from day one. I couldn't complete the course because my dad was in defense, and we had to transfer every 2 years, and hence it was a 4 year course. I couldn't complete it. I came back to Goa, and over here got to see the music scene was way different than what I learned for 2 years. And to gel with this, yeah, obviously, definitely I'll have to adopt all that because Goa was all about Sunburn, Supersonic, and all those Western music, basically electronic dance music. And I somehow got interest into that. And yes, like every other kid, I went to my parents and I told that I want to be a music producer. But I somewhere failed to explain the difference between a music producer and a DJ because yes, both the both those two entities are way different from each other, and they were kind of unhappy because I'm the only child and they would expect me to do something really great in the life. And obviously, you know, पापा के भाई का प्रेशर भी रहता है कि अकेला बेटा है, ठीक से पढ़ाना है and all that. So I was kind of disheartened, but not completely. I kept my research on at the back, and I was about to answer my 10th boards and was planning what to do just after that. Thankfully, I cleared my 10th boards with distinction and got to see to know music production and sound designing, you need physics. और physics science की बेटी है. And if you want that बेटी to come to your house, तो साइंस जो उसकी माँ है आपको उनको कन्विंस करना पड़ेगा सो दैट शी कम्स विथ यू फॉर ऑल अदर ट्रेल्स इन योर लाइफ. तो मैं अपने जिंदगी का कचरा करने निकल पड़ा. Yes, this is what exactly happened. I failed in my 11th chemistry. I failed in my 12th chemistry. But interestingly, when I was in my 10th standard, it was all घर से school, school से घर. That's it. 11th and 12th gave me an exposure to know what nature is all about, what environment is all about. And I was very conscious about, social cause. Uh, Mostly it used to be like garbage. I will not say mostly, it always been garbage to me. I became very conscious, like not throwing the toffee wrapper the moment I used to eat. So that sort of made me very passionate about environment. I won't call myself a naturalist, no, never. Meanwhile, in those days, by the time I was clearing my chemistry, which I wrote 4 times, I did my desktop management course from Manipal Institute of Computer Education, wherein I learned all those graphic designing related applications. And somewhere down in me, there was this one point wherein I was, gathering interest in computers. Hence, I did computer application, thinking यहाँ पे सब graphic related stuff होगा. I'll get to do cartoons. I'll get to learn VFX and बहुत कुछ. But again, जो 10th standard के बाद हुआ था वही यहाँ पे repeat हुआ. No, didn't fail, but healthy. यहाँ पे coding था, and there was a lot of other things apart from my interest. But yes, somehow I survived. So there was there was this amazing time which had like so there was one point wherein I had mentioned that I was very mean about garbage throwing and all that. During my college, we had this group. We used to go to this particular place in Miramar and to celebrate our birthdays and breakups. Yeah, breakups. Yeah, you heard it right because वो भी एक खुशी का अलग ही पैगाम रहता है, बात होती है. So we used to go there, and I started, noticing all those small things which were there in and around over there, and I got to notice only the bad part. दिमाग ही वही था, कचरे में था. So that area will be not so big, but then by the end of my cleanliness drive, which I initiated with two of my friends, Jason and Marvin, we got to end up collecting around 8,000 bottles, liquor bottles, as you can see in the picture, 8,000 liquor bottles from that particular area itself. And yeah, it was well known for all this good stuff and bad stuff, but it kind of hit me, and I was like, why people being so educated are still repeating the mistakes which not even a not so educated person will do. So I clicked few photos while we were working and I posted on Facebook. We got amazing, we got praising from that place, and I was kind of shocked that दो ही तो फोटो डाले, इतना इतना बड़ा काम थोड़ी ना किया है, पूरा गोवा थोड़ी ना साफ किया है, you have cleaned that particular place. But then there was one point, if photos could speak this loud, videos would have been even more louder, and that's when my first vlog wala idea came up to my mind, but it was too late by then, and our ICS started, and again caught up into studies, and that this one thing never came up because of lack of support, I would say, or एक अकेला क्या कर लेगा. For that reason, I went to YouTube, and I started self-learning how to do video editing. And my first software was Pinnacle. After that, I moved on to Filmora Wondershare, and used to make some funny videos back then. Having this Bollywood music video and giving it an Afro Cheka song. So imagine Madhuri Dixit dancing on turn of the speakers, the वैसा वाला. So again started doing that and started posting it on Instagram so that किसको मालूम पड़े कि मेरे मुझे में भी इतना छोटा सा talent है. But then what happened? I started getting copyrights strikes, and which made my one of my accounts completely blocked. I gave up on that. Simultaneously, I used to get to go to college events, and that's when I got a chance to participate into all those audio related and video related tasks. And while I was pursuing my second year, I believe, one of my good friend Sonia, I did edit her entire movie, which was of 7 minutes, I believe. And she had participated in Science and Fiction Film Festival, Goa, and she won the best jury award for that, which kind of obviously she was the owner of the movie, so definitely the credits would go for them. But then I somehow realized कि okay, if out of 40 फिल्म्स एक फिल्म को भी अगर जूरी अवार्ड मिल रहा है, डेफिनेटली उसका मतलब सोनिया का भी कुछ ना कुछ एफर्ट्स रहा होगा, सिनेमाटोग्राफी एंड ऑल दैट. बट देन आई समहाउ फील कि बाबा एडिटिंग का भी कुछ तो ये रहता है, अपना अलग जगह रहता है. So I thought, why not take this as a career itself, and let's get into some social awareness video and filmmaking. And then final year came, and our exams were over. And if you can look at his face and can make out what must have happened, I failed. I failed for 1 mark for my graduation. But I had 4 months to answer my one paper. बहुत नाइंसाफी, but still. पहले के 2 महीने मस्त घूमा. I was all I had given up on everything. कि why can't I? Why is it like end of every stream I come and I flunk, wherein I was having a really good repo considering my study. और एंड में आके सब बर्बाद हो जाता है. सो आई गेव अप, स्टार्टेड गोइंग ऑन वाटरफॉल ट्रैक्स एंड बाइक राइड्स एंड व्हाट नॉट. One of my college teacher, his name is Sir Rohan, and he organizes those offbeat trekking, waterfall trekking. So I thought, इतने वेले बैठे हैं, why not go and join him and just have a other perspective of nature and how does it look in person instead of always looking at it in videos and all. So I went and there was one point which was tickling me. Why don't you make a video out of it and post it on your Instagram? वैसे भी तू बहुत vlog करता है. Why don't you do it? I just went on a Google and I just checked कि vlogging के लिए क्या क्या requirements होते हैं. Definitely you need a mic. I was sorted for that. Camera, I was sorted for that. People were having drones and GoPros and what not with them. So I kind of pulled myself back कि नहीं भैया ये लूमिया 540 डुअल लेके 8 मेगापिक्सल का कैमरा लेके कुछ नहीं होगा. But then somewhere down in my head it was like, why don't you try? What's there to try? So I gave it a shot and I made my first vlog to Pali waterfall, which is in Valpai, and it was like not in 1.5 minute long, and it turned out to be really good. I got amazing feedback from my family, friends. They were like, "You're doing it really good, and why don't you do even more?" And people were expecting me to post video every day, which is not possible. I was not earning, और पेट्रोल भी बहुत महंगा था यहाँ से वहाँ जाने के लिए. So during this period of time, I got to get in touch with Mother Nature, I would say, very closely, and I got to see. Definitely, I was not noticing anything related to nature. I was like, हाँ इस तरफ पे जाना, हाँ there's a nice waterfall. Record it, post it. That's it. Also, meanwhile, I cleared my BCA with distinction. Yes, and I was looking for a chance to show this little talent of mine, uh, and for some appreciation. So again, BCA I cleared with distinction. Yes, I know. Fail होने के बाद भी आप distinction में pass हो सकते हो. Believe me, you can. अगर internals अच्छे हो तो that is also there. नहीं तो internals anyway. So that's when my parents gifted me a brand new phone which had 1080p ka resolution and a 60 fps ka recording, which was a lot to me, a lot to me. Oh yes, this was me after my clearing exam. Sorry. When did I meet Aranya? So once I cleared my uh, graduation, my backlog. I went on looking for opportunities if I was able to, and could record something. And but then, as they say, you don't if you don't have funds, you can't do much with what you have. So there was this camp happening. I somehow requested my parents to give me thoda rokada, and I would go and attend this camp because already I had given up on a lot of things which I wanted to do in my life as a career. But then I needed a sort of break for, even if it's for 2 days, it's fine. I went over there and I got to learn so much in detail and at a very simple version, I would say. There were people from different places, obviously students, teachers, the people who are not with the same background of the teachers and the students are having. I got to see that, and then there was this one thing which was making me care about. I got to learn a lot on the camp, but then what's next? Okay, people those who write down and record stuff, उनके लिए अच्छा है, but what if I'm not a मैं उनमें से नहीं हूँ. I don't understand all those scientific names and all that. So it was very difficult for me to understand. So obviously once you're done with the camp, वो सब चला जाता है. So now social media is another huge platform for them because they were anyway new to this particular. Aranya was brand new that time. That's what I've heard, and that's what I've heard. I mean, I know that's what I was told, and they wanted a social media exposure as well. So this I really didn't know until I went to Aranya's president, Miss Harshada, and I told her, why don't you guys record those sessions and post it on your YouTube channel? So आपका YouTube channel भी हो जाएगा. You guys will have a Instagram and Facebook for real, and there will be a lot of more to your camp itself. Meaning a person who is sitting in US will be able to see about NGO Goa, kya chal raha hai, because they are having these camps. Okay, there's this talk which is going on birds. There is this talk which is going on ants. Mushrooms and all those. So I just went and I just told this idea, and within 10 days of this idea, I was hired as Aranya's digital content developer. I was shocked, first of all. I was excited, and I was planning, and I had planned to be a good learner. So, this is the first camp which I did with them. Didn't expect to get my first project within 25 days of my hiring, joining. Aranya for Goa's Legacy. Yes, that's what our movie name was. Having zero knowledge as to where to start from, where to begin with, I was completely zero. By completely zero, I would say now that I know certain terms, I didn't know the difference between a jungle crow and a house crow. Similarly, every small bird used to be sparrow to me. And this is not the information you should be having if you're making a nature related video. And that's when the team subject experts entered, they taught me. And from that moment, I realized that the house crow ka call is different than jungle crow. Frog mouth is my favorite, by the way. And adding to that, I hate the female's call. It is horrible. If I tell you, ODKF, Oriental Dwarf Kingfisher has the best in class color. And after gathering all this information, the video become a really huge success after 8 months of its preparation and fails, trials, all the छोटा छोटा जितना भी कुछ मिस्टेक्स था, everything getting, obviously there were points wherein मेरे नहीं आता मुझको नहीं करना, but the team always had been supportive and they are really supportive for to like to make this video for them. And then I realized this is where and what I always wanted to do, making a video on the social cause. Our team member, Mr. Vignesh Shinde, master brain, from out of blues, he came up with a idea, an amazing idea of NoSub. So NoSub basically expands to no single-use plastic, and I got to put my choice of audio, like whatever music I always wanted to put behind a video. I got to do that. And definitely, if it's a vlog, it should be fun and informative both together, which I tried my best to blend both, and it turned out to be really good. And just after Old Goa, which was our first place to do the nose up, and after that, we got so much media coverage from different newspapers as well. And this was a really game changing moment for me that मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ. That thing ignited and it's still on. It's still on. Then moving on to the next, I had this little video session. So Be Live. This is where I used to work after, like in 2019 I had joined, and that's when I kind of lost that touch with video filmmaking because got too busy with my job as well. But then there was one point I could showcase my talent over there as well, and even they kind of really enjoyed it. They liked it. They forwarded to all the national tie-ups which they have in India. Again, so this birthday disaster, as you can see, the title, uh, birthday disaster aftermath. So basically, this again a social related problem which we have, which we youngsters have, I would say. And it's not that we are not educated. It's not that we are not aware. It's just that we are not conscious about our surroundings. That's it. That's it. The moment someone start telling you about the environment aisa hai, we don't care much and like हाँ ये वही गीता पेटा global warming और ये सब बताया गया and then it's done, you know, it just leaves out. But then this video was hosted by Vignesh Shinde, and then it was made in such a way that it's fun and it's doing its purpose as well, like whatever information it has to give, it's doing justice to that as well. All right. So this questions have been popping out from the time we had released our first video on Environment Day. That was Goa's legacy. That what plans I have got with plans together with Aranya. So as of now, I have quit my previous job completely, and I'm going to dedicate all my time and all my love and affection into this particular field. And I have no idea where and how far it's going to take me, but as of now, I'm just going to do it. That's the only motto I'm looking at. And considering about projects with Aranya, we have got two really out of the box projects right now. One is definitely coming up really soon on 31st August 2020. That's just after Ganesh, and the other one is a small surprise, and it's related to coronavirus. Yes. That's all. That's what all my journey was so far. I just hope I haven't bored with all those Hindi and English in between. And to all the ones who are having a stumbling studio just like me, here's the thing: just start with whatever resources you have in your hand, and just keep this one thing in your mind, that is nobody's judging you. Even if they judge you, it's okay. Take it in a positive way. I know it's hard at times. It gets on your nerves. You tend to give up. I was one of them. Been there, done that. That's what I'm telling. But if you are really interested, and if you love, I won't say if you like, if you love that particular field, just give it a start, and it's just about the start, and rest it's all the way up. Up in the sense how you take it and how well you do it. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much, Aranya.
Right, thanks a lot, Shiv. That was really a hilarious presentation that you gave us. And believe me, I think it's a story with everyone, right? Everyone has stumbling studios in their own life, and let's take it to Kalyan. Kalyan, what do you think? Let's hear it from you about what Shiv had to share with all of us. What's your take on his stumbling studio?
No, it's a very fascinating story, and which is true what you rightly said. I think most of us tend to judge on our educational qualifications and things. And you all, at least for me also, like I did mechanical engineering. I can't even fix my car when it breaks down. uh, then did a couple of times in IT, but like you, in some sense, nature, love for nature took over, and I really, at least this is 15 years ago, I decided that this is what I wanted to do. Be in wildlife, be in the forest, do something related to it. So in some sense, the journey has been very similar, and it's fascinating to do and hilarious. Like nice to hear the story.
Right. Amit, what about you? Like, considering you went into Bollywood straight, like you jumped into it, and you also share the same, background story like Kalyan, an engineer who quit doing what he wanted to and jumped into the big ocean of Bollywood. What's your experience and take about this?
Oh yeah, so it was very confused. Like my life, I started with something engineering and then shifted to 3D animation, and then almost like wanted to do go for the cameras, like shoot something. So I started with my cinematography in a professional life, and then got more opportunities. I was not happy somewhere, something like that. I used to travel more and more every year. I had a plan like in 1 year I'm working so much, so after some time I need a break to travel. So my travel was mostly for like kind of safaris, wildlife, going all part of India, like just for that. And then I started getting interest in wildlife somehow. And yeah, I got a good company also with few friends. They started teaching me about that, and it was difficult to understand these technical things. What like how Charan said about the birds and all. When I started shooting wildlife, the starting was like I was not aware about this kind of, okay, which is this bird. I in general, like how common people know kingfisher. So there's a blue color kingfisher. If there's an orange color odicaf, so like what is that now? So that is also kingfisher. So that was very tough to understand first. Like, okay, these are the, and technically, yeah, you need a expert in the wildlife definitely. From the cinematography side, I was like, okay, fine, it will be like something similar to how we shoot humans. No, but not definitely, it's totally different. So to shoot wild is you need so much of patience and many other things. Like really, yeah, that was kind of yeah, Pranasa.
Yeah, thanks, Amit, for that. So, let me take it to Kalyan from there. Kalyan, how easy or difficult is it, for someone to conceptualize a mega project like, for example, the Wild Karnataka movie? It took 4 years and a very big budget. How easy or difficult was it to put together a team? Manage logistics, manage all permissions. Shed some light on that.
So actually, doing Wild Karnataka taught me more than about filmmaking, but time management of people and things. So one of the things with Wild Karnataka we wanted to do was that have a team of people working on it. It was not supposed to be my project, Amok's project, or whatever it is. And Bangalore, one of the few places, there are a lot of people who are into wildlife filmmaking. And one of the things about filmmaking, and I'm sure Amit will agree with me, is that a lot of people start with photography and move on to filmmaking. You know, and the minute you get into filmmaking, you need to unfortunately unlearn photography and learn filmmaking again. Because when you're doing filmmaking, if you're thinking like a photographer, you're never going to get the story. It's all about the story, right? And in any film, you need drama, you need suspense, you need happy moments, sad moments. So for Wild Karnataka, it was like literally we had a wall full of post-it notes saying that, okay, these are the animals we can film. We know where we can film. What will each animal story will be, and also we wanted to show diversity of habitats in Karnataka. So we, split them by, okay, in the desert area, we'll highlight these species, in Western Ghats, we'll highlight certain kind of species. And the thing, worst part about wildlife is that you never know. I mean, there are species which we wanted to film, which we never did. Like, I searched every day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., looking for great Indian bustards, never found it. Didn't even get a shot. Same thing with wolves. I wanted to feature wolves, but it was tough. Some you get without even realizing. For example, I don't know if you, I mean, in the film, if you remember, otters chasing the tiger, which you never expect. In fact, when we were filming, we were following the otters. We didn't even see the tiger was sitting there. So you get this. So some you go with planned idea of how you want to put the story. Some, it's pure luck, just spending enough time there. So yeah, that's why it took us 3-4 years. I mean, it took us almost a year of editing also, because we had about 80 terabytes of 4K footage at the end. Go through it, select the best bits and all that. It was just madness.
Right, thanks, Kalyan. I'll again shift to Amit for a question.
Yes.
Like I've seen Amit do a lot of landscape for videography with drone, and and my personal opinion, drone footages are just like they open up an entire dimension of looking at the habitat in a very different perspective. So how do you see drone footages playing a big role in trying to showcase our wild spaces in terms of landscape or habitat perspective? Do you think there is more scope for people to learn? Because I have seen you fly drones, and believe me, it's as tough as the flying a Rafale, probably, especially in the kind of high wind and rain conditions that we were shooting a few weeks ago. So I know how difficult it is. So Amit, my direct question to is, do you see a scope for people to learn flying drone? How does one go about? What are the technicalities? What are the problems associated with drone filming, photography, administrative problems. So a little bit of light on that.
Yeah, definitely, sir. There are many scopes in drone right now, and but we have few things about legal, like our government kind of. So we have to take permission for that. Okay, you cannot fly anywhere, everywhere, and yeah, definitely with permissions. And the drone, basically, on the ground level camera, what we see, we can see from the eyes or sometimes. And what happens? Nobody has seen from the top. It's not a very unique thing, but when you see something from top, that gives you a different dimension, different view. Like, so it's more about the view. Yeah, definitely technical also, like how you fly, how you show the landscape and all those things. And yes, what more you said, sir?
Right. So I was also asking, how someone starts learning to fly a drone.
Oh yeah, definitely. There are many schools here in Mumbai, Pune, so they can get a certificate from there to flying and all. It's there, and yeah, you can nowadays you can YouTube also.
But then, Amit, it's not just about flying, right? It's also
Mhm.
about perspective. It's also about getting the right angles and the right, direction and stuff
Okay,
like that. So how do you learn that? Is that innate, or can you be taught all of that?
okay, that is all about composition. So we learn from the camera. Start from the camera. Definitely, like photograph. When we click one picture, one frame. We try to compose it very nicely. We try to keep we try to avoid all the unnecessary things out from the frame. We try to keep it as beautiful as possible. One frame. So that's the same thing comes in the video. We try to maintain from the first frame to the end frame, same something similar, some good composition. And in the same the similar thing, it is in the drone also. It's only that is in the sky. And same way we have to maintain the composition, make it more beautiful, more dynamic. Yeah, then it looks something different.
Right.
I just
Thanks a
want to
lot,
add
Amit.
one thing.
Yeah.
I just want to add one thing to what Amit had said.
Yeah,
I think
please, sir.
you can become a certified drone pilot if you had at least two crashes in your life, lost
Oh
drone.
yes. Yes.
And I think Amit has crashed one for power drift, right, Amit?
Yes, yes. One I did it purposely. That was needed actually for that shot. So I had
Right.
to.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
Kalyan, I guess there are a couple of questions for you. So, I have put it on the screen and also read it out. So, Antonio asks, "Hi, sir. There are many documentaries created on beautiful fauna of the Indian subcontinent, which is good, but there seems to be less focus on the local aquatic species that are more affected and going extinct at a rapid rate relative to general fauna due to continuous degradation of Indian rivers and seas. Will you create something in line with River Monsters by Jeremy Wade?"
So, I mean, one is, especially riverine systems, it's very hard to film aquatic thing. In India, underwater, I mean, first of all, underwater filmmaking is completely new ball game. And most rivers in India, the visibility is not great to actually get enough stuff. But I do agree with you in the sense that we need to focus more on the rivers. I am not a fan of River Monsters series, frankly, because it is more about catching that animal and the old style of Steve Irwin style of catching that thing and showing how much. I mean, he is a good present. I know him. I know Jeremy Wade is a good friend of mine, but I don't like that style of filmmaking. I think I like the David Attenborough style, which is you're kind of behind the camera and telling people what to do. So I think the other problem also is that for to do a large scale project, let's say like Wild Karnataka, whatever, you need to do a film on a subject that will generate interest and raise funds for it. You know, so obviously, if you say tiger, you can raise funding easily. But the minute you say that I'm going to focus on these species which don't even have common names and do a documentary, it's very hard to raise funding unless you're able to raise your own funding and do it. But definitely point taken on that. Yeah.
Right. Uh, Kalyan, we have another question for you before I ask something to Amit as well. Uh, Right. So Ratnesh asks, "Sir, we have seen your work in Wild Karnataka. It's beautiful. I have a question, or rather a concern. When we document exquisite species or even capture and publish photographs of them, aren't we exposing them to risk? Risks such as people coming to know about these species and then getting an idea of hunting them. Shouldn't we keep them as a secret?"
So one thing I would like to say is that more often it's the hunters who probably know things better, where to find what, than we, because we end up there. The hunters are usually the local communities. I would say that overall, I think in the last 10, 15 years, hunting is not that major issue for wildlife, especially rare wildlife in India. I think it's overall in decline, and whatever little hunting happens, I think it's local communities who just want some bushmeat. I mean, they might do a deer or a wild boar or something like that. So I really don't think we are exposing. In fact, I think by publishing our images, I think we are educating people more, making people care about that species. So the positive outcomes are a lot more than negative outcomes. If a poacher wants to hunt a tiger, he can just go to Kabini and go on one safari. He knows exactly where the tigers are, right? So it's really not. I believe, and in fact, I believe in openness of information. That's kind of been my philosophy. So I really feel that having the information is better than actually. I don't think it aids in poaching.
Absolutely. If I would like to add, like, I am a big fan of Paul Nicolan and the kind of work that he does for Sea Legacy, the
Right.
kind of footages, the positive footages that he puts out of narwhals, of polar bears, and then the second post or third post on Instagram is of sea lions being hunted, narwhal tusks being sold on markets, shark fins being cut. So when an audience is exposed to the positivity and the gross negativity, it builds up a very nice concern in the minds of people, and that's where I think positive photography, filmmaking, and information given out is really powerful, because if you don't know the positives, you can't fathom the gravity of the negatives that is there out in the market. So Amit, would you want to add something to that? For example, you have been to various countries for shooting, and since it is about poaching, the movie Jungly, which was a commercial movie, spoke a lot about poaching. The character was the entire story was about someone trying to save a herd of elephants from poachers. So do you think commercial filmmaking also can play a big role in sensitizing our public? For example, Bollywood as a platform can be a really good stage for spreading awareness and educating people to those places where even people like Kalyan and I can't reach, as we can't reach, but Bollywood can reach. Shah Rukh Khan can reach even the last vestiges of India. So do you think Bollywood has scope of increasing uh, awareness and education, Amit?
Um, Practically speaking, no, because Bollywood, that means a commercial movie. So commercial movie comes where they can generate money. So they need some masala basically. And what happens there, we cannot show only the fact. That is why we make documentaries, right? That is why we make something which we can show out of the theater, like maybe on other platform or something. So yeah, definitely we try to show something in Bollywood also with few facts and then more of masalas. So not exactly that, yeah, but with the art films and documentaries, definitely we can.
Right. Thanks, Amit. Charan, you have been sitting for silent for a while, so let me also bring you into the discussion. You might have to unmute yourself. Yeah, thanks. So,
Sure.
Charan, you have seen Kalyan's work, you have seen Amit's work, and several other people, right? And you also spoke about limitations in terms of equipment, right? You spoke very rather hilariously about 8 megapixel का camera और मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. And I think Kalyan and Amit both are smiling when you actually said that then and now. So, Charan, do you think that a limitation of resources is what is keeping back people like you, or what do you think? Does accessibility to technology actually impede people from coming front? Is that what you wanted to say when you were presenting?
To be exact, there's always a difference between what you like and what you love. So if you like, then you might have this one thing कि हाँ मेरे पास अच्छा कैमरा नहीं है, I won't be able to do a better job over there, and people will judge. Love is what भाड़ में जाए, मेरे पास 8 मेगापिक्सल 2 मेगापिक्सल जो है मैं उसमें रिकॉर्ड करूंगा and I'm going to show it to the public. I don't mind about the dislikes and how much likes I get, but I'll be satisfied within that कि हाँ मेरे पास उस वक्त ये था, I did this and this is what the outcome. And even if out of 10 people 8 dislikes you get, there will be those two likes. Concentrate on that. I know it's hard at times, but you have to concentrate on that 2 likes which you have got on that 40p resolution wala video.
Right.
Or
Thanks,
80p.
Charan. Yeah, and I want to extend this line of thought to both Kalyan and Amit, because you guys were also 10, 15 years ago beginners. So did you guys face an issue like this where you were limited by your resources, and how you overcame that, and do you think it even matters? Let's start with Amit, and then we can take Kalyan's thoughts on this as well.
Oh yes. When I started my first wildlife shoot, that time we got a project in hand, and I was the cameraman on that. Like as a DOP, they hired me, and then surprise was that I was as a DOP on set, and there was no camera, no lenses, because it was like just 4 people team, and we wanted to make something on wildlife, and we had no equipment basically. So maximum we had 200 lens and a Sony camera. So 200 lens of Canon and Sony camera, which is 6500 crop sensor camera. And we were like, now what to do? Nobody has budget to buy cameras, and how can we manage? Because we need money for travel also. We need money for our food and everything. So how will manage that? So we started asking people, like definitely close friends, if they can give us like for a help. So I got a camera again, 6500 Sony, and a 400 lens from one of my friend, and we bought a 2x converter. So this is Kalyan sir know better about this. So this is this like how we just adjusted in that, and we tried to make that Birds of Goa movie on that only. And yeah, people, nobody asked me till today that what equipment you used on that. So that was the good thing. Most of the people appreciated. Yeah, it was good, nice, looking good, and all those things. Definitely, some technical errors are there, but yeah, I got some positive, like, yeah. So that was
Right,
a good
great.
thing.
Thanks, Amit. Kalyan, if you could, take from that line of thought and talk about how equipment and technology can probably impede people who would want to get into this.
So it depends, Pranay. I think I really think that equipment is not a stumbling block for starting filmmaking. I do agree. I mean, even when I started, although everybody starts small, you're not going to get a BBC project on day one, right? So and these days, like you said, I mean, I've seen films shot completely on cell phone. Of course, but for wildlife, yes, I do agree that you need long lenses and specific special equipment. And like Amit said, no, you beg, borrow, and steal. In my early days, 10, 15 years ago, when I couldn't afford a zoom lens, you borrow somebody for 2, 3 days, or kind of request something for that. So I really don't think that equipment is a thing for anybody to start filming. Kind of get into filmmaking in general. For nature photography, maybe a little bit, but what you have to realize is that eventually it's all the travel, stay, spending the time in the field actually costs you more than the camera kit itself.
Yeah.
And for Amit and me, at least people like us, because we deliver for Amit, of course, that's for Bollywood, Hollywood. I have to deliver for big channels. Their specification is high, so it's not just um, you know uh, 4K resolution. They need like minimum 400 Mbps output, 4:2 to color rate, all those
Oh,
things.
no.
So because we have to deliver for those, we have to probably buy that expensive equipment or hire. Lost a lot of time we hire equipment for that. But for YouTube, in fact, why I tell people, I shoot via. In fact, now cameras can shoot 8K. You shoot 8K and all that, and eventually the guy will be watching the video on his mobile phone. So yeah, we really don't have 4K television, 4K broadcast yet, but everybody wants you to shoot in 4K. So I don't think it really matters so much. Frankly.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, Kalyan, because Shiv, I think you have your answer out loud, and answers for everyone that, don't be limited by equipment. And as you had told in your, presentation, it's just the love and passion that drives someone towards a cause. And I think the rest of the pieces fall together as a jigsaw puzzle. Okay. That is a very interesting comment and a question before I take up a few other which are for Kalyan. So, Velosha asks, would the panelists like to share instances from their initial journey and what intrigued them into such a career with passion for environmental issues? So, yeah, Kalyan, this is something which even I wanted to ask. So, मुंह से बात छीन ली. So, Kalyan, if you could go first on this. Now, what kind of started this all for you? Because I'll also give the background again for people who didn't listen. Kalyan was with Yahoo. He was the star employee. He left Yahoo, went and was a naturalist at JLR, and then jumped into this. So, tell us about that, Kalyan. Tell us all about that.
I think my moment of reckoning was, I remember this February 2005, because December the previous year I had quit my job, and till then I used to go on weekends, to forests and all that. And all the people who have tuned in, I'm sure all of you like nature, and I mean all of us, right? Once we spend time in nature, it's like a addiction, right? We want to be there. So I quit my job, and I actually wanted to spend 2-3 months in the jungle. I didn't know, I couldn't afford it. That's why I went to jungle lodges and said, can I do something? They said, yeah, why don't you work as a naturalist? Even like Charan was saying, I barely knew 10 birds back then, how to identify 10 birds. But, I said, okay, let me try. I started there, working there, spending every day in the forest. And one of the nice thing was back then, this is 2005. So it was just a wildlife sanctuary, and the rules weren't very strict. Now, to go to a forest, there's so many rules. Back then, you could go in the night, you could take your own vehicle inside, so I really spent a lot of time. And when February came, that's when I said, I'm no way coming back to a cubicle again. After spending a month every day in the forest, I said, there's no way I'm going back to a cubicle. This is going to be my life and journey. And I did struggle, from 2005 till almost for 5-6 years. I knew I wanted to do this, but I just didn't know how to make a living out of it, right? And I'm sure most of the people here know you can't really make a living, not just in India, anywhere in the world, just doing wildlife photography, you know. So, I used to do workshops, I used to tours, and, and eventually moved slowly from photography towards filming. So that's been my journey, and I haven't looked back. It's been 15 years since that moment happened.
Right. Amit, what about you? You would also shed an interesting perspective. How did you get into all of this? We'd also want to hear your journey from IIT to Goa and then filmmaking. Let's listen to that as well. Hello?
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, Amit. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can't see myself. Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'll start from my college. I entered in VIT, which is Ranchi. And then after 1 year, I don't know, there was some problem with me or my thoughts. Hello?
Yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you, Amit.
Yeah, okay. So I somewhere my maternal uncle, Mama. So basically, I was a little disturbed with my engineering, or there were some other issues were going on. So my mama just suggested me like, are you interested in animation or something? Because one of my friend in Goa, he's starting the course, and then that day he just suggested me like, and I was very keen about the animation and the gaming, all those things from like my childhood. So I thought let's switch now because I don't want to stress myself, which I can't continue. And then, yeah, definitely I spoke to my dad and he agreed on that, luckily. And yeah, I came to Goa. I started my 3D animation here in Goa, learning. And then, yeah, so after completing all these things, started working in industry for some 3 to 4 years. And then in the gap only, when I used to get some holidays, I should travel, like, again, like for safaris and all for birdings with some of my friends, and they started showing me something which is like binocular. I never saw a bird from the binoculars from that close. Like I've seen many birds flying all around, but I've never seen that color, that structure, the way they have the nature has built. So that closeness and then that beauty, I've never seen it before. Not only the birds, even the animals like tiger really, and many other mammals. So that started fascinating me about those things. Why can't I shoot something for this? Like, you know, because I started loving the nature. And my holidays was more than my work. I used to work like for 6 7 months in a year, and then I used to go for holidays. Now my holidays were more than my work. Like, so because of the nature, basically, because of the trees, because of the my travel things, and mostly in the forest. So somebody suggested me, why can't you just try something to make one video about nature or something wildlife like? So we started making some few films, kind of started getting good response. People started appreciating, like, yeah, it's coming good and all. So I got a little confidence about that. Let's why not work on something which is we can show to more bigger platform or something. So that's how I approached forest department of Goa, and then yeah, now I'm here like.
That's amazing. Right. So, Kalyan, we have a couple of questions, and before we can, wrap this session up, there's a lot of people have kind of asked questions to you, because this is the only place they are able to catch hold of you. So here is one from Ronit, who asks, while Karnataka was a path-breaking film on wildlife of a state, and has taken 4 years to execute, keeping in mind the excellent experts who were working in the project, what kind of stumbling blocks did you and the team experience, and how did you kind of solve them, or solve some of them?
Yeah, I mean, it was a quite a tough project. So the way we worked was that when we assembled a team of about 20 people, we went back to what their expertise were, what films they've done before. For example, there's a guy called Pradeep, one of the cameramen. He spent a lot of time in Agumbe filming, photographing king cobras. He's filmed them before. So it only made sense to give him the responsibility of filming the king cobra, because he knows what to expect, when to go, the logistical practicalities of it. So we kind of, the way we went about it was like, okay, this species is your responsibility. It's going to take 5 days, 50 days, but it's going to be a thing. So that's the way we broke down the project. And frankly, we didn't have funding; it was mostly self-funded. Our biggest stumbling block, frankly, although we were doing it for the forest department, was problems with the forest department. So
Yeah.
I hope there's no forest department people here, but uh, simple things. You have a permit to go, you go film, but that some guard will stop you there and say, "I'm not going to allow you." You know,
Oh yes.
uh, and what do you do? And some people expect drive. So that was really the hardest part to deal with as well. Because of over 4 years, and because there are multiple teams going, so we had to go pretty much. We covered entire Karnataka, right? So we had to engage with 30, 40 forest officers at different places. So there also a lot of paperwork, because before every shoot we have to send the permit, mail the permit. You have to do an agreement, all those things. So that was really the biggest stumbling blocks.
Cool. There's one more. I think that's one last question. So there's been one question, right? Will you all be continuing this series of Wild Karnataka in other states, like in northern states? It's that awesome, and it deserves to continue for more episodes.
Well, hopefully, if somebody funds me for it, yeah, maybe. I think it was quite exhausting. I think I'm definitely going to take a break, but definitely, I think one of my motivation going forward is to do Indian films for Indians. Unfortunately, right now most of the films I do is for Western audiences. Americans and Europeans and all that. I think Wild Karnataka's first film, one of the reasons why it was successful was because it was made for people, not just Karnataka, India, to appreciate our own wildlife. So definitely want to do more films going forward about our places in India and for our people, and also conservation issues. In fact, I just have one more question. I think somebody asked me why
Oh yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah. Yes, yes. I
conservation.
wanted to keep that for the last. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
that's that.
So it's a very good question. And in fact, when we started the film, we thought we'll have the last 10 minutes dedicated for conservation. But because it's such a big team, because we're working with forest department, what is conservation? We had a disagreement on that. Yes, conservation is many problems, right? We have mining issues, human wildlife conflict, we have climate change, we have. Um, so we weren't sure what to highlight, because there was the problems are so big, and by showing it for five, mentioning it for a little bit doesn't do justice for it. So we thought that I think let's just make it a film to celebrate wildlife. All films don't have to be depressing. You do make other films where you do hard hitting conservation which affects you, but sometimes you just want a film which makes you happy, which makes you appreciate wildlife. And I think that was the reason why we said that we'll keep it pure natural history and let people be happy about what they have.
Cool. There's one more question, and Ratnesh has been extremely active. And then this is one question I think which comes up now and then on various wildlife platforms, photography, videography, both. So it's about when you want to document a particular shot of a specific animal, it requires a photographer or a videographer to be close as possible. So almost as if invading their personal space and not giving them enough privacy. How can we reduce this error? And to add to this, the question of the entire moment of Rohan Chakravarti initiated this entire movement of not baiting birds by calls, and the entire issue of baiting birds for photography, videography. There are so many examples in PAs in Uttarakhand. Kalyan, you must have seen some of them as well. So what is your take on baiting of animals for photography or videography, especially when all of it is just recreational and it just is sitting on Facebook and just doing nothing? Now, what's your opinion on that?
I think definitely baiting is wrong. I don't ever film anything which is baited, and even I'm completely against this word called business, especially the way it's going on. And like you said, some resorts in Uttarakhand, but even in northeast, in Arunachal Pradesh and all that,
Yes.
it's just some of the birds have completely stopped responding because of that. Um, so I mean, I see at the end of the day, your reputation depends on how ethical you are, right? And I think for both wildlife photographers and filmmakers, I think being on top, making so for me the thing is that I'll never do anything that will disturb the animal from what it wants to do. So I won't help a tiger hunt, neither will I let come in the way of a deer that is going to get killed. Nature has to take its course, right? But to answer the specific question, I think, see, we also as filmmakers, we want to get the most natural behavior. We don't want the animal to be looking at the camera scared. So, so most of the, so it depends on animal also. For example, if you, I don't know, I mean, I'm just not giving, let's say you go to Ranthambore, the tigers don't give a shit. Yeah, they just come walk close to you and all that. They really, in fact, they all come on the road next to your jeep and mate or whatever it is. So, and there are always animals which are shy, and for sensitive animals, I always use a hide. So the animals don't know that I'm there. In fact, some of the animals, for example, I worked in Gujarat and all that, filming black bucks, lekking. It was crazy because even if you had gone, if you go inside, the animals know that you are inside, even if they can't see you. So they won't come there rest of the day. So I used to go while it was still dark, early in the morning, 5 o'clock, enter before the animal could see me. And I would only get out after 6:30 in the night. In the evening, although in the whole day I would get maybe 1 hour, the animal will come. But I didn't want the animal to know that I'm there. So it was very tough. Summer in Gujarat, sitting in a hide all day was very hard. So yeah, so we use combination of hides and things to um, film species which are sensitive, delicate. Rather.
Right. Thanks, Kalyan, for that. And on closing remarks, if I would request both Amit and Kalyan to kind of say something to the audience, for all those people who would want to get into this, something that would inspire them to come up. Everyone looks up to you guys like you. So if you would want to say something on an ending note, Amit, will first have you speak, and then we'll have Kalyan, and then I'll also have Charan come into the conversation and give closing remarks as well, because you have entertained the audience thoroughly with your with a quick quotes, right? So Amit, we'll start with you.
I'll not say much. Basically, yeah, definitely the passion is more important about this field if you want to work in this. Definitely, even I want to hear from Kalyan sir. So what he want to please.
Yeah, right. So Kalyan, if you could take over from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean what Amit said is right, and just to add more to it, I think is that there are stories to be told everywhere. You don't actually have to go to some fancy national park or Africa, Masai Mara, or something like that. most of you are from Goa, and Goa itself has so much wildlife, and the story can be about a caterpillar or a butterfly. We really don't have to go to exotic places. So I really think that the stories to be told, and both wildlife stories as well as environmental stories, a lot of people have pointed out. And I think platform is you have a mobile phone, and also we have platforms these days. I know a lot of TikTok is not a famous thing to say these days, but Instagram Live, TikToks, or whatever videos. This platform you can make that 30-second video and share it with people, and I really encourage more people to start off from there. You can start off there and then build into if you want to continue the line with filmmaking.
Cool. So, Charan, your closing remarks of all of this. How do you feel? Talking to both these guys and to an audience that has been so wide. What is that you have taken home from here, and what do you expect to kind of assimilate from all of this, and what's the way forward for you? And
For,
and how do you plan in being in touch with both these guys here, so that you can kind of learn more and probably be successful. And I would also like to say, both these guys quit their jobs and became successful. You quit your job recently, so I think you are following in their footsteps, right? So let's listen from you, your closing remarks on the session.
my first and the only thing would be that keep your eyes, ears, and all your views open for learning. It's not that I come and tell you कि ये यहाँ पे गलत हुआ है, and then you get कुछ भी बोल रहा है, कुछ पता नहीं मेरे बारे में, and then he might take it in the wrong way, and he would like stop doing that because just one person has corrected it, but then he won't see Baba that I have a group of friends who have praised me for that. And talking about speaking in front of both the hosts of our guests of our session, when I heard that I'm going to speak together with Kalyan sir, I was scared, and I'm still shivering from inside, like completely. I probably may go low once the session is over, and I am definitely going to have a bad headache after this. And Amit sir, I just recently got touch with him after watching his cleanliness drive video at Kurdi, I believe. And yes, so that's this two things which have pumped me up. And about taking this particular thing forward, whenever I post any nature related or a social cause video, I'm definitely going to tag both of them on Instagram at least like 10-15 times maybe. So that I get at least featured on their page. That will be a lot.
Thank you so much, Shiv. That was really great, and then a lot of appreciation for and I think this would be something interesting that Ramji sir, who is a teacher, who says that I had taken my entire school to the theater in Chhattisgarh,
Thank you.
and that's the kind of reach, and I think that's what any filmmaker would wish, that their work percolates to the last vestiges of this country, and that kind of brings about social change or a change, right? So yes, so with that I think we'll conclude this session. I'm extremely grateful to Kalyan and Amit for sparing their really valuable time. I know both of them are busy, especially Amit. I know that he is sitting on a pile of work, but then he has decided to spend 1 hour of his time with us, and especially Kalyan, who actually had to rush back from wherever he was and come back and come on the live session.
No
So
problem.
thanks so
Before
much.
you close, I have a question for Amit.
Yes, yes,
Yes, sir,
please.
please.
I'm very curious to know what those markers and the green screen behind you are. I know it's for some AFX work that
Okay.
you're doing.
Oh yes, yeah. Actually, that is just for test. I have few students. I teach them also VFX how to track. Basically, those black marker you can see the cross ones is yeah. No, I can okay. So those
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
trackers. Basically, you can track the camera movement on that. And the green you can see that green one is just for the replacing the background. Basically, you can add something on that. It's just for that.
I've just seen it in film, so I was very curious. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. So right. So
Thank
thanks,
you
Kalyan and
so
Amit, both, and thanks, Shivcharan as well. It was really great to all our audience who has continued to support us and be with us. It is all because of you that we have been able to do this, which many people said would be unlikely, or initially said would be tough and needs a lot of planning. But hats off to Harshada and her team for executing this so well. The next week on Wednesday will be the season finale, where we are going to have a very big panel, group of panelists who will be coming and speaking on this platform. And there is something very interesting on happening on the 15th, that is the Independence Day as well, where it is going to be about the pressing need for environmental press. Right, today we spoke a lot about how it is important to have media attention, or how photography or videography is a very important tool for sharing information. And considering the rate at which things are going, it's very important that positive and negative news also goes to the public, and that is going to happen only if we tie our relationships with the press and media more closely. So we are going to have a interesting panel discussion on 15th at 6 p.m., where we are going to bring all the top guys in India's top and lower rug and middle. It's a mix. The panel is mixed. We are having the editor of news channel, we are having editor of a newspaper, we are having photojournalist, we are having the field journalists. We are going to have Rajendra Kelkar sir, who is well known in this country, who has represented the NBA several times, who has represented the Wildlife Board several times. We have Dr. Manoj Borkar, who is a very prolific environmental writer for various media houses. We have Parag, who has also been in touch with media for the last decade. So we'll go have this very interesting session this coming 15th, and the next Wednesday we'll have the season finale of Burgeon. So to all the people who are listening to us, thanks a lot for your positive support and encouragement. And with that, I would end the broadcast. Good evening to everyone.